data with respect to age, region, religion, economy, all these conditions. That is called social map, right? So that's it. So let us move on to the chapter 2 now, that is demographic structure of the Indian society. Dear students, this term you know already what is demography. Since we are discussing the NCERT part, the basic term demography you will be knowing. Anyway, we will see what is demography. Demography is very simple. It is the systematic study. It is the systematic study of the population of a particular region. It may be particular area, it may be particular country. If we calculate the total population of that particular country, area, or maybe a community, we can call it as the demography. That is a systematic study of the particular countries or areas or communities population is demography. Simple, right? So the demography is classified into two kinds. That is, two types of demographies are there: formal demography and social demography. Listen very carefully. Here we are not mentioning, we are not talking about informal demography. So one is formal demography, another one is social demography. There are little differences. What are the differences? Formal demography talks about the quantitative data, right? And the social demography talks about qualitative data. It is about the quality, it is about the quantity. You got it? So let us see some examples and understand. In the formal demography, that is the statistical analysis of the population, that we collect the statistical data of the population of a particular region, and in that population how many males are there, how many females are there. You getting the point? And the number of females is collected, number of males are collected, and in the same time, out of the number of female and male, how many are youths, the number of youths, the number of old age. If I collect the data like this, right, you can also add some more examples like number of working people, number of unemployed, right? If you collect the data with respect to this in a quantitative wise, which means how many people, see for example 2 crore youths are there and 2 crore old people are there, right? And unemployment rate of 6.1%. See, these are all the data, quantitative data, whatever we collect is the formal demography. Clear? Now, social demography meaning it is the quality, which means the life of the people. See, for example, I can say migration of the people. Example, migration. People migrating meaning there is a qualitative issue as well, right? So migration and the birth rate of the people and the death rate of the particular community or the people. So the birth rate, the birth rate and the death rate both depends upon the quality of life they are living in, right, in a particular society. If we collect the qualitative data like birth rate, death rate, and the migration of the people from one place to another place, all these data we can say as social demography. Collecting the qualitative data is a social demography. Collecting quantitative data is the formal demography, right? So let us move on to the next. That is the Malthusian theories of population growth. Very, very important. Why important? Because Malthusian catastrophe is very important. You might have studied this theory even in your school days, that is in plus 2, because since we are dealing with NCERT 12th standard, NCERT 12th standard. So we'll read about this Malthusian theory, and if you are from economics background student also, you can easily read this, right? You might have gone through this, right? So Thomas Robert Malthus is also an economist. Is an economist. Actually, he propounded many theories. Out of that, the Malthusian catastrophe or the population growth theory with respect to the demography is very famous, right? Excuse me. According to him, see, he says there are two important things that matter in a country. One is population. Population meaning what we understand, that is people, right? Population meaning we people. And the means of substance, here means of substance meaning the land here meaning the agriculture. Listen carefully, because people and the land and the agriculture, here land and agriculture meaning I am talking about the production meaning it is nothing but I am talking about the food availability, because he says both will go not hand in hand, right? Because normally developing country like India, such a country like India, population growth exponentially increases like this, but the means of substance, that is the means of production, will not increase like that, it will go linear, and there is a point of catastrophe. That is what he is talking all about, and we'll see further. According to him, population can grow uncontrollably. Population is growing uncontrollably. And he says population grows in a geometric progression. What do you understand by geometric progression? 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 8, 8 to 16, 16 to 32, 32 to 64, tremendously increases like this. Population is growing in a geometric progression. But land is not increasing the same way, no. The land is limited, right? And the land gives a limited returns also, which means the agricultural production, the agri production or the food production is limited. It will go in a arithmetic progression. Arithmetic progression meaning 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, like that. You understand? Which means population is growing and the food is not growing according to the match of the population. Getting the point? So the population increased into 64, but the food production increased into 12 only. Where is the match? There is a big mismatch. This mismatch only is called Malthusian catastrophe. Understand? So as a result of this, what is going to happen in the system? As a result of this, there will be an imbalance in the society, which means the poor is going to be more poor, right? They will go down, and the rich may continue to be rich, because if food prices increases, see for example, if the quantity availability of the food, decreases, the price of the commodity increases. If the price increases, the rich can easily afford, but the poor cannot afford, right? So that will decrease the standard of living of the people. This may lead to huge poverty in the country, hungerness in the country, and very importantly, starvation in the country. That is, there will be a famine in the country, as happened in India in 1921, right? So please note all of these points, very, very important. You have to use all of them while writing your mains answers, right? As a result, there is an imbalance in the society. Yes, population is growing uncontrollably, tremendously it grows, right? As I told you, geometric progression, right? And the population and the food is not growing in such a way, right? So, and which leads to poverty, hunger, starvation, etc. Done. And Malthus came up with the two solutions, which means if you want to match the food production with the population, which means food production is going very slow like this and population is increasing tremendously like this, and he says we have to control the population, we have to decrease the growth of the population. If you want to control the population, there are two important checks according to him. One is preventive check, another one is positive check. Be careful, very important. What do you understand by preventive checks here? Preventive checks meaning all are under the control of the man, which means man can easily control this. See for example, getting marriage late, that is late marriages, or following celibacy. Celibacy in Kannada we call it as brahmacharya, or in Sanskrit also you can call it as brahmacharya, right? So following celibacy and late marriages, postponing the marriages, these are all the preventive checks which is possible by the man. And if the man is not controlling, listen carefully, if the man is not controlling, the nature is going to control the man. That is what Malthus said, the positive checks. He says positive checks meaning the natural disasters. The natural disasters are going to take place. Many people die because of the natural disasters, such as earthquakes and tsunami, right? What these will do, the earthquake, tsunami, the famine, or drought, right? So these are all going to hamper, these are all going to decrease the population automatically. These are all called positive checks. But many questioned, many sociologists questioned the Malthusian view, because these are all negative things. If huge natural disaster happened, huge flood happened, people died, how can you call it as a positive check, right? If earthquake happened and many people died, if tsunami happened, many people washed away, how can you call it as a positive check? Many sociologists criticized this term used by Malthus, but Malthus called it as a positive check. Okay, so next, this is the graph presented, where you can use if necessary in the examination. That is Malthusian catastrophe. It talks about the quantity, it talked about the time. As I told you, see here, the Malthus catastrophe is here, this is the point, and the population is increasing tremendously like this, and the production of the food is very linear like this. Both are in equilibrium in this point. The anything above this, when they miss each other, this is the catastrophe, right? Which means the catastrophe is going to reduce the standard of living of the people. That is what is the Malthusian catastrophe is all about, right? And few people criticized, few sociologists criticized Malthus theory here. According to sociologists, poverty, hunger, etc. are not dependent upon the agricultural growth, right? But due to uneconomic natural distribution of the resources. Here the sociologists are trying to mention that unequal distribution of wealth is the main reason, not the agricultural growth alone, or not the agricultural growth as an important one, because of the unequal distribution of the wealth, which means unequal or inequality in the economy, right? Which means, according to the recent survey in India, 73% of India's population, 73% of India's wealth, right? 73% of India's wealth is rest with just 1% of the population. Wow, what an unacceptable thing. 73% of India's wealth is rest with only 1% of the population, right? So think about it. So this is one, is agriculture is not the only reason, but actually what is the reason? Unequal economic resources distribution is also the reason, right? Agriculture production is not limited due to the advancement of the science and technology. Yes, this is also true, because it's criticism. Because Malthus says, as the population is increasing and the food production remains linear, but food production also increases. Why? Because we introduced technology. Because in 1960s, India introduced green revolution. Due to green revolution, the food production in the country tremendously increased from 1960s to 1971. The food production have increased to 60 metric tons plus of food production we have increased in the economy, which means that is a huge increase. Technology can match with the population. So one more criticism. And third one, along with population growth, there is an increase in the standard of living. This is because of the science and technology. If the science and technology is there, people are well aware of it. If as the country moves from developing to developed nation, science and technology develops. As the science and technology develops, the standard of living of the people will also develop.